Welcome to Intuitive Writer. I'm your host, Camille Chan. I'm a writer, a medium, and a story channeler. I have 23 published books to my name and counting. I have been writing novels for over 30 years, and for just as long, I have been channeling stories. I have spent my life in dedication to my craft, and what I've learned is that, contrary to popular belief, stories do not come from within. Stories come from without. Stories exist in the universe as energy, and they are waiting to work with writers just like you and me to be channeled on to the written page. I believe that so many writers out there are already channeling stories, but they're doing it from an unconscious space. I started the Intuitive Writer podcast and YouTube channel to help writers just like you shift from a space of unconscious creativity to a space of conscious creativity. Be sure to tune in every week for teachings that will help you incorporate intuitive writing into your everyday writing practice. I'm so excited that you're here. I'm so grateful to be part of this creative journey with you, and I look forward to sharing with you every week. Thanks for tuning in. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Intuitive Writer podcast. I'm your host, Camille Chan. I hope that everybody out there is having a great February. I'm recording this episode on Tuesday, February 2nd, and over the weekend, at the end of January, we entered Mercury retrograde. Now, I don't know a ton about astrology, but I've started learning a little bit about it, and I have this theory. I'm testing it out. I'll let you guys know. But my theory about astrology is that it's similar to gravity. So for thousands of years, humans existed, and we didn't know anything about gravity. Yet, gravity was doing its thing, right? Because here we are, we're all stapled to the earth. We're not floating up into outer space. So I have this theory that astrology and the impact of planets and stars, I have a feeling it does impact us whether we know it or not, just like gravity. So as I'm starting to study astrology and learning more about it, I'm paying more attention to what's happening and then what happens in my life. So over the weekend, as we went into Mercury retrograde, it was a really rich experience for me. I was channeling nonstop. I had some great writing sessions as I put some finishing edits on my book, and then I channeled through 2 guided meditations and a podcast episode for Intuitive Writer. So that was pretty cool. So I'm definitely going to be paying attention throughout the month and just seeing how the energy flows, because Mercury retrograde is going to last for most of February. And yeah, so anyway, I would love to hear what you guys think about astrology and what your experience is with Mercury retrograde and some of the other interesting things that happen in the stars. So anyway, enough about that. It's time to jump into this week's episode. And today what we're going to be talking about is best practices for meditation. And we're going to talk about the benefits of meditation to your intuitive writing practice. And then we're going to end with a beautiful guided meditation that I channeled over the weekend for you guys. So I'm very excited to share all this material with you. So let's jump in. So first off today, we're going to talk about 5 best practices of meditation, because I truly believe that meditation is going to be your cornerstone for becoming a conscious creator and connecting with your stories and the energies that want to co-create with you. But I also know that a lot of people out there are either unfamiliar with meditation or they have resistance around it. So I will start by telling you that if you'd asked me even 5 years ago how I felt about meditation, my answer would have been a resounding, it's not for me. I dabbled with it a little bit in college, and what happened was I'd either fall asleep or my mind would be racing so intensely that I couldn't meditate. And honestly, I threw in the towel pretty darn quick. I think I did maybe 3 sessions and I threw in the towel and said, oh, this is not for me. So this brings us to best practice number 1 for meditating. And it is just that, it's practice. You do have to practice. I know, we want everything to be so easy and we want it immediately, but all things worth having oftentimes take effort, and meditation is one of them. You have to practice. You have to make a commitment to yourself and your creativity to learning how to do this so that you can be this intuitive creator and that you can incorporate your intuition into your writing practice. You do have to practice meditation, and I promise you that if you dedicate yourself to it, it will become so beautiful, and yeah, it'll be amazing. You're going to have so many amazing experiences and you're going to love it. So please practice. And like I said, I am including a free guided meditation here at the end of this episode, and it was channeled specifically for writers just like you and me, and the whole intent of it is to help you connect with your story and with your characters and these energies that want to co-create with you. So hey, if you want to start off, do this meditation a couple times a week and just start practicing. It's free and it's fun and it's amazing. So, all right, enough with that. That's best practice number 1. Best practice number 2, you need a place that's quiet and secluded. And you'd think that this would be a no-brainer, but in case it's not, and I know especially for parents, this can be really challenging when you have children that want your attention. So to that, I say, go hide in your closet. I have done that before, and it's amazing how long it takes children to find you when you're hiding in your closet because it might be the first place they go when they play hide and seek, but they don't expect to find mommy or daddy in the closet. So be sure to find a space where you're not going to be bothered, because it will interrupt your flow. So that's best practice number 2. Best practice number 3, don't lie down. This is why when I dabbled in meditation in my 20s, why I fell asleep, because I was laying down. There are meditations to help you sleep, but the meditations that I'm bringing in for you guys and with intuitive writing, the whole point is not to fall asleep. So that's a different meditation practice. There are plenty of meditations out there that will help you fall asleep, but intuitive writing, that's not the point. The point is to be awake and consciously connecting with these energies that want to work with you. So sit up and you won't fall asleep. I love to sit on the floor cross-legged. I usually sit on a pillow. You can sit in a chair. You can sit on your bed, on the sofa, whatever. The point is, sit up. That's going to help you. Best practice number 3, I definitely recommend using earbuds or headphones because it helps to minimize outside distractions and outside noises. So if you're on a busy street and there's lots of cars, or if you have a very active household with lots of excited children, or yelling animals. Sometimes my cats, they want in on the action and they'll sit outside my door and they'll bang. So yes, earbuds are amazing, or your headphones. Definitely recommend those. The last best practice is to make sure that the temperature is comfortable, because if you're sweating, if your room or your area is hot, or if it's really cold, you're going to have a hard time sinking into the meditation and focusing on it if you're physically uncomfortable. So do whatever you have to do to get physically comfortable. Grab a blanket or put a t-shirt on if it's too hot, whatever it is. Just make sure that you're comfortable. And then bonus best practice, you don't have to do this, but I do it and I love it. For some reason, I always feel called to take off my footwear, my socks, my slippers, my shoes, whatever, but I always meditate barefoot. And actually, when I record these podcast episodes, I am usually barefoot because for whatever reason, it helps with my connection with the universe and the energies that I'm bringing in. So that's just a I don't know, your extra credit, give it a try and see how it feels and see how it works for you. So honestly, guys, it's not that hard. I mean, I think the hardest part is actually just doing it and showing up and committing to it and, really making that commitment to use meditation actively and consistently. But everything else, I mean, finding a quiet room, getting earbuds, getting comfortable, sitting up, I mean, my God, that's easy. That's like, yeah, it doesn't get any easier than that. So take these to heart, and I really hope you start using them. And if you have any questions, please feel free to DM me at Write with Intuition at Instagram. I'm on there every day, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have on meditation. Now we're moving on to part 2 of this episode, where we're going to talk a little bit more about the benefits of meditation. And as you begin to use your intuition on an everyday basis and really get good at connecting with these energies, you will absolutely download and channel outside of meditation. It happens to me all the time. You just really develop this sense of knowing when information is flowing to you. And you do begin to be able just to tap it in, and when it's happening, you're able to just allow it to flow, if that works for you. Sometimes you have to tell it to come back later, and that's okay too. But I always get the most clarity and the biggest downloads when I'm meditating. It definitely is the powerhouse tool in the shed, so to speak. So you might have your hedge trimmers and I don't know, whatever your yard tools are, but your meditation is going to be like your chainsaw, right? You're going to do all your heavy lifting with this tool. Yeah, it's really impactful, and it really is like that number one power tool that you have in your intuitive arsenal. So it's super important. And so now I'm going to share a little story with you that happened with me over the weekend. I have created a handful of guided meditations for the Intuitive Writer Activation Workshop, and they're all channeled from my guides and created specifically to help writers and creative people interact and connect with these energies that want to co-create with you. So when I woke up Sunday morning, I very clearly heard the message, you need to go meditate and you need to go use one of the guided meditations that you created for this course. And even though I was busy and had a long to-do list for the day, as I usually do, I said, okay, I mean, the message was coming through pretty loud and clear. So I grabbed my laptop, I popped in my earbuds, got into my meditation space, and I pulled up one of the guided meditations that I created. And it was really cool. As soon as I dropped into the meditation and used it to connect with the energy of my story, one of my characters stepped forward. His name is Luca, and he's a minor character in my book. And he's not actually even alive in the book. He was a victim of World War II in the book, and he's the deceased brother of one of the main characters. And his death shaped the trajectory of my character's life. Her name is Nona. She's the grandma in the story. So when you get to the section on this grandmother, she has a lot of memories about this beloved brother that she lost in World War II, and it's really an integral part of her story. So when I sat in this meditation, Luca stepped forward, and it's the first time that I've seen him. And in the book, I describe him as, a very handsome teenage Italian young man. And I always kind of love seeing how they show themselves to me versus how I imagine them, because it's usually so different. So it's always so interesting. And when Luca stepped forward, he was an older man. I would say he was late 30s, 40s, really thick, heavy black mustache, thick, heavy black hair. And he was wearing a tan, to me it looked like a golf hat. I don't know what you call those, but if you can imagine what a golf hat looks like, it looked like that. And it was kind of just a light tan color. And then he had on a matching tan trench coat. And he didn't speak to me. So we didn't exchange any words. And what he did was he took me to a scene I had just written the day before. It's one of the very last scenes in the book that I ended up adding last week. And essentially, he wasn't in it, and he wanted to be. So, so he worked with my guides and sent me this message like, hey, she needs to connect with the story, because he really wanted to be part of this scene, and he showed me exactly how he wanted to be a part of this scene. So it was really interesting. And incorporating him, it was actually a very slight change. So it didn't require me to go and scrap the chapter. I just had to go back in and weave him in the way he had shown me. But it was really cool, even though it was such a small, I guess, physical change to the chapter, just in terms of adding a couple of sentences here and there. The emotional context went up several notches. So it was really cool to see how much that little change really changed and enhanced the dynamic of this scene. And it was totally magical. And I never would have done it otherwise. It wasn't on my radar. It wasn't something I picked up on when I was writing this scene. I needed this little extra poke from the universe to go and connect with the story. And Luke was there front and center saying, hey, I'm important, listen to me, and I really want to be a part of the scene. And so I went ahead and incorporated him. And I mean, this is how cool meditation is. And this is how these different energies or spirits or whatever they are step forward to co-create with you. They have opinions. They have agendas. I don't know anything else about Luca except that this particular scene was very important to him for whatever reason, and maybe I'll learn more about him at another date. But that's all I know, and I have surrender and I have faith and trust around that. So here he is now in this scene, and I just love how it turned out, and I am so grateful. I have so much gratitude to him and the universe for bringing this little change to me. And I couldn't have done it without my meditation practice. I couldn't have done it without my intuitive writing practice. And this is why I'm so passionate about sharing this with you guys, because it's a game changer, you guys. We talked a lot last week about how with intuition you shift your connection from your head down to your heart, because it's with your soul that you're connecting with your story and these energies, and that's how you're using your intuition. And again, this is a perfect example of, if I just used my brain, the scene was just fine. There was nothing wrong with it. It was completely serviceable. It completely worked. But when I tapped into my intuition and created the space to communicate with my story and this particular character, it added a much more rich dynamic that I wouldn't have gotten on my own. And again, that's why we shift from our head and our brain that tells us everything is just fine, when in fact these energies that are co-creating with us, they have so much more to add, and they have so much texture and color to add to our work. And that's why we're here. That's why we're co-creating with them. That's why we're called to be writers and artists, because there are these energies out there that want to work with us. And you connect with them through your heart space and through your soul, and not with your brain. And this brings us to the guided meditation. If you haven't listened to the previous episode 13, where we talk about what is intuition and how do I use it to write, your first assignment is to go back and listen to that episode, because this meditation is going to complement everything that we talk about in that episode, including a little assignment that I gave to you guys in that episode. And what this meditation is going to do is it's going to help you transfer and shift your story connection from your head down into your heart. And it's a really beautiful meditation, and it's really going to complement everything that we talked about in the last episode. So please, 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 before you do the meditation, make sure you go back and listen to episode 13, and then you can come back, because then you'll have a fuller understanding of what this meditation is intended to do and the power that it has. I'll give just a brief recap for everybody that has already listened to it and just might need a little refresher. This meditation is all about shifting your creativity from an unconscious space down into a conscious space, because intuitive writing is all about being a conscious creator. And I know it sounds really intuitive when you talk about, or counterintuitive, sorry, when I talk about shifting your story from your brain down into your heart, because I think on some level you would be thinking, well, if it's in my brain, I mean, that's where my consciousness dwells. What are you talking about? Moving it from my head down into my heart and shifting it from an unconscious space into a conscious space. But what I'm really talking about is the conscious awareness of your intuition, not your brain. And your intuition dwells in your soul and in your heart. It doesn't dwell in your brain. Your brain's doing its own thing. It has its own agenda, which we talk about a lot in episode 13. So that's a very brief overview of what we talked about in episode 13, but basically what this meditation is intended to do is to help you shift your awareness. So to take your connectivity to your story and your creativity from your head down into your heart, so that you can begin to unlock this conscious creativity, so you can connect more deeply to your intuition, and so that you can start feeling your stories and your characters on a conscious level and working with them on a conscious level. One last thing I wanted to say about this guided meditation that you're going to be testing out here in just a minute is all of my guided meditations, they start with anchoring you in to the earth. Some people call this grounding, but as you go out to connect with these various energies, I always feel it's very important to stay grounded and anchored in here to this plane, this planet, because obviously this is where we belong right now. That's where our bodies are. So the beginning of the meditations, they always begin with some type of a grounding exercise, and it's whatever spirit shows me when I'm channeling. So I just wanted to explain that little part of it. So as you're going through it, you understand what's happening and why, because it is so important to stay connected to your body and to the earth where we live. And I really hope, I feel really called to make more of these guided meditations. They just fill me up with so much love and joy, and I bring them in for myself all the time, but I haven't shared a ton of them, but I definitely feel called that this is something I want to do more of. So I'm really hoping that I can bring you guys a free guided meditation every month. I don't know what that's going to look like. We'll have to see what the universe brings to me, but that is my hope. So I'd love your feedback on this after you give it a try. I will end this episode by saying thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed it, please share it on social media. Please share it with your writing friends. Please subscribe on your favorite platform. I'm on all major podcast platforms, and I'm on YouTube. I would appreciate anything you can do to help me spread the word. And you can reach out to me anytime on Instagram at Write with Intuition. I'm on there every day. And if you'd like to join my newsletter, I will be sending out a coupon when I release the Intuitive Writer Activation Workshop. So that is down in the link below in the show notes. You can join my newsletter. And yeah, that's a wrap. And let's get into the guided meditation. I really hope you guys enjoy it, and I really hope that it brings you great connectivity with your work. I'm excited for you. And I will be back next week with more good stuff. Until then, take care. Bye. close your eyes and take a deep breath. You sit in space, surrounded by stars. You sit in space, surrounded by the twinkling diamonds of infinite possibility. Take a deep breath and breathe in the light. Breathe in the stars. Breathe in all the infinite possibilities. Breathe it all in until you are overflowing with light and stardust. See your body filled with light and stardust. See the stardust drip down from your elbows. See it drip down from the base of your spine. See it drip down from the soles of your feet. Your dripping stardust forms ribbons of light. These ribbons of light spiral down and down from your seat among the stars. Down and down the ribbons go. Down into the planet that spins beneath you. These ribbons of starlight attach to the earth. They sink into the soil and hold you. They move through mud, through soil, through roots and plant life, and they anchor you to your home. float high above the earth in a sea of stardust, anchored to your home. Now see your story spinning in your mind. It's a spinning hurricane of light. And it's spinning and spinning in your mind. See it spinning. And as this hurricane spins, see it begin to narrow and stretch. See it elongate down through your face and neck. Always spinning. Always so bright. See this hurricane stretch down and down, past your chest and into your heart. See the very tip of your creative hurricane take up residence in your heart. It anchors in, finding a new home. The rest of the hurricane follows suit. Whirling down and down, the whirlwind of your creativity spinning all the way out of your head. Past your cheeks, down past your mouth, down into your throat, down and down it spins into your chest. Down and down it goes. Until all the vastness of your creative potential takes up residence in your heart. See it spinning in your heart with all its glorious beauty. Hold your creativity in your heart. See it shining so bright. Now call in your latest story. Call in a character. Call in a scene. Call in a place where you're stuck. Your choice, but call it in. Allow yourself to feel this aspect of your story, whether it's a character, a scene, or a place you're stuck. Feel this aspect of your story. Ask this piece of your story to enter your heart. Hold a space of love for it to enter. Feel it enter and connect with you. If it's a character, ask them what their story is. If it's a plot hole or a scene, ask what happens next. There are energies that want to work with writers. There are energies that want to be channeled onto the page by you. See this energy connect with you. It's a beautiful, energetic ball that touches you and fills your heart. Open up your heart to receive it. Let it flow into you. spend some time with your story or your character. Let yourself feel it. Let yourself channel the energy. Spend as much time here as you'd like. And come up